Good evening, everyone. My name's Kathy Wesley. I'll be your host this evening for the question and answer session for the class. I know that the class has been going on now for 10 weeks, and it's a lot of material. And I'm really hoping that you have enjoyed your time learning with us. This evening, we have Khenpo Ugyen Tenzin, the abbot of KTD Monastery, with us, as well as several of the other lamas on our local and long-distance staff, including Lama Losang from Florida, Lama Rob from Texas, and Lama Tom from Ohio, and myself. So we also welcome Lama Sonam, who will be translating for Chinese language. So we're still waiting for Khenpo Sangye to arrive. So we are a little bit delayed in starting, so we thank you for your patience. So at this particular point, I will open it up to questions, and if you have questions either on any of the classes, but most especially for the classes that we've just experienced, the Vajrayana, the Four Thoughts, the Sutriyana and Mantrayana class, the Bardo in Brief, and the Buddhist and non-Buddhist systems. If you have any questions about those, you can use your raise hand function, which is in your toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And the other possibility is that you could type them into the chat. Anybody with Chinese questions, go ahead and write your questions into the chat in Mandarin characters, and then hopefully we'll be able to get those answered before the end of the program. Okay, with this, I remind everyone of their bodhicitta motivation, taking refuge in the three jewels. And I'm looking forward to hearing your conversation this evening. So if anyone has questions, you can begin by using the raise hand function. Okay, it looks like no questions, but we will need some. I'm looking at chat and seeing no questions in chat also. Well, this has not happened before, where we have people on and there are no questions. So this is curious. What shall we do? Well, then perhaps we can ask the people who are participating this evening to share something that was meaningful to them from the program of the last few weeks. Is there something that struck you as being important for your practice or for your study of Dharma? And you can share that. Here's one. Pat gives a comment. All of the info was very informing. Thank you to everyone. I did find the shares about what Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche said the most illuminating to understand the teachings. Okay, thank you, Pat. I appreciate you sharing that. Would anyone else? Good evening. Lama Yeshe has joined from Wisconsin. Good evening. Oh, yeah.
Lama Yeshe is now a co-host, so he can talk.
Oh, yeah. I need to excuse myself for a moment because Khenpo Sangye is still in the wrong meeting. I wish there was some way someone could go to see him and let him know that he's in the wrong meeting, but I'll do my best. I'm going to have to go off camera for a few minutes. Let's see. I think since we don't have any questions.
And I'm trying to get in, but now it says the host has another meeting in progress. So I don't know what is happening with my.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I understand. He's still in the wrong meeting. So I'm going to have to go off camera. Let's see. Lama Losang, would you be able to take over for a moment and monitor, or Yunten La? Okay.
Yunten, you are muted. But I'm fine with taking over briefly. So there are there other chats in the anyone else have a question or a comment in the chat?
There's a question about Tibetan Book of the Dead. And is there a particular version for our lineage? I know a little bit about that subject from working in the bookstore, and I'm just trying to find the one that is generally considered to be the best.
Thank you, Jen. That would be
We'll
great.
share that in a moment.
And if any of the lamas have anything to add to that, please do so. In the meantime, if there's anyone else who would like to ask a question, either in the chat or raise your hand, and we can open your mic and you can, or unmute you. Either way.
Okay, I'm posting the link to the edition in the chat. And this is as I understand it at this point, the only complete translation of all portions of what is collectively known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Many of the translations only have the what is it? The through hearing, the Great Liberation through hearing portion.
Would you state the name of the text or the name of the book, please?
It's a Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Great Liberation by Hearing in the intermediate states.
And the author?
And it's the translation is Tertan Karma Lingpa, or no, Jerme Dorje.
Jerme Dorje.
Yeah, I can share the screen if you would like, that shows what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
let's go ahead and do that for those who might want to know more about that. Stages of the Bardo. That was one of our topics for conversation.
Okay.
There's the book, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, The Great Liberation by Hearing in the intermediate.
And a little bit more information about it. That according to Peter, this is the only complete translation.
All right, I think that answers the question. Thanks for putting that up for us.
Certainly.
Any other comments or questions that anyone would like to ask? Or about your experience in the teaching thus far, things that you've learned or things that you would like to see done, or this can be a feedback time as well.
Lama Losang, I think there's a question in the chat that I could answer, which was about the four thoughts.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, the question was from Vivian, and she said, could you provide more insights about contemplation rather than meditation? In my talk, I made the distinction between meditation and contemplation. Meditation, of course, we know is the idea of keeping our minds on the object of our meditation. And when the mind strays, to bring it back. That's a very short answer there. But in terms of contemplation, it's actually taking a thought, rolling it over in your mind, thinking about it. They both share this in that they both require you to keep your attention on an object. But the difference here is what the object is. In meditation, it is simply your breath or some other object. In contemplation, it's actually a thought. So that's the difference. I hope that helps a little bit.
Thanks for your patience, and hey, thank you very much, Lama Tom, for answering that question. Appreciate your patience. I don't know that we had any success finding Khenpo Sangye. We did our best. He's seen my messages, but he's not in the meeting, so we did our best, folks. So at this point, I can add one thing to Lama Tom's answer, and that is that when I was studying overseas with His Eminence Taisi Rinpoche, he gave us a formula to use when we were contemplating. He said contemplation can be divided into 3 parts: review, recognition, and resolution. Okay, again, review, recognition, resolution. And he said what you do in the first part of the contemplation is it's just exactly what Lama Tom was talking about. You turn a thought over in your mind. The preciousness, for example, of our human life. How precious it is and how valuable it is and how fortunate we are to have it. And then at some point, as you review this in your mind, a recognition may arise. Yes, I do have a precious human life. And that moment of recognition is only a moment, because then we move to the third level, or the third part of the contemplation, which is the resolution. And that is where we resolve to practice the Dharma because of what we have come to understand. So I just thought I would share that with folks, because it's something that has helped me understand the difference between meditation and contemplation. So hope that's helpful. Okay, let's see. So far, no other questions. Oh, here we have one. Lindsay, yes, please, you can ask your question.
Okay, bear with me because I don't know how good my internet connection is right now. But my question is based upon a thought that was inspired by Khenpo Sangye's original class on Nirvana and Samsara. And I'm trying to articulate something that's non-conceptual, so please bear with me if this is a little halting. Plus, I'm speaking in front of 20 other people.
Gotcha.
The best way I can explain it would be with a metaphor, and I was having a difficult time recently, and appearances were not what I thought they were at all. It was something I erroneously viewed as negative and saw that it ultimately ended up positive. And naturally, that struck me as a dualistic view. And then I began to think of the sides of a coin. And I arrived at a conclusion wherein I saw there's multiple facets and sides to everything, like in, conventional reality, meaning just because we can't see something is good doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like no differently than if I'm looking at the obverse side of a coin, it doesn't mean the reverse isn't necessarily there. So what I began to think beyond that was, I started thinking of emptiness, how phenomena are, of devoid of self. They are not inherently existent. They are dependently arisen. And I I started thinking about the coin again, and really what is the coin, and I started thinking about it at more of almost like a physics level and broke it down into, what could be a quantum realm that I can't even begin to understand. And then what I saw out of that was I felt like emptiness was almost in a way vastness and limitlessness, because when I started looking at things at such a small level, like, pondering, at a quantum level, the structure of this coin, if you will, there's something even beyond that and beyond that. And we could keep indivisibly dividing these things, these reactions, these things about physics we don't yet know, to where, and that's where my mind went. This is incredibly vast. This is incredibly limitless, this concept of no self and emptiness. So my question would be, could emptiness and that sort of vastness, that expansiveness, spaceness, I guess I'm going to invent a word there, be somewhat synonymous with the Buddhist concept of emptiness? Hopefully I've made that clear.
Thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate it. It sounds almost to me like if I could recap the question just to make sure it's that I understand it, is that in this situation that you were in, you had the sense that things were limitless. That's another word that gets used instead of the word emptiness. I've heard that used by some of the Rinpoches before. And so you're wondering if this vastness, this, spacious, vast spaciousness is synonymous with emptiness. Am I getting close to the question?
Yeah, I know it was kind of lengthy and, heavily metaphorical, but that's essentially what I'm asking is that limitlessness synonymous with emptiness? And I think you may have just answered it.
Okay. And because the Rinpoche that this came from, again, interestingly enough, was His Eminence Tai Sitra Rinpoche, who in one of his Mahamudra classes said that he personally did not like the English translation of using the English word emptiness, because, and he said it for many people, it implies the number zero, or nihilism or nothingness. And he said, well, really, it's everythingness.
Yeah.
If that's a word,
Yes. That was my thinking, and that's something I struggled with in the beginning of Buddhism, was the concept of emptiness, because exactly of what Rinpoche had said, it almost implies zero, nothing. And it took me a while to kind of get to the point where I saw it as, it's not nothing, it's everythingness.
Right. And I'm guessing that that's why he chose to use the word limitlessness rather than emptiness. But I'll tell you what, let's see if there are other lamas who are here this evening who might have something to add. Hey, Khenpo Sangye, so happy to see you. Thank you. I'm glad you're there. You're in the right place at the right time, sir. Thank you. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, you're muted. Let's see. Let's see if we can.
I made him a co-host, so he can unmute now.
Oh, very good. That's good. Hi, Khenpo Sangye. We're glad you're here, and we're in the middle of one question that's being answered, and about whether emptiness can be explained as a vastness instead of nothingness, and so I was just asking if other lamas would have a comment about that.
Or maybe you can just keep on going. Keep
Okay. Do other lamas have something they'd like to add to this?
Well, I just don't think we can put one word to describe emptiness. Anything we say about it, it's not that. It includes that, but to think of it as vastness, the end, I don't think is probably going to do justice to our understanding of emptiness, which is, as the questioner was saying, it's vast for sure, and encompasses anything even beyond what we can cognitively grok in that way. So that is an aspect or an adjective that is used, but is certainly not an all-encompassing one. It goes beyond any, I think, particular definition or word that we could use, that our mind, we want to think of it as something. Yes, the mind really wants to do that. But I think the only way, as I think the questioner also said, is the only way we can do is to experience it directly in our meditation in a non-cognitive kind of way. We just have the experience of it. So I would ask the Khenpos to please dive into this one more.
Thank
So-
you. Thank you, Lama Losang.
Oh, I was going to say that emptiness in the sense of when you talk about the different schools of get into different tenets and the logic and the logical analysis, emptiness in that kind of sense, that word works well. When you apply it to Buddha nature, saying it's emptiness, doesn't work so well. Then using limitlessness works much better. So it kind of, we just have one word and it kind of covers a lot of different situations, and sometimes it fits well and sometimes it just doesn't fit very well. So I think Taisitsu likes to use that when he's referencing Buddha nature. He'll say limitless potential, or one's ultimate limitless potential, and so I think that helps, is the context that it's in. And then experiencing it a different thing there. That's experience emptiness, what, sleep? It doesn't really translate too well there.
Mhm.
So
Thank you. Thank you, Lama Rob. I appreciate that. So Lindsay, great question. I know that what I always tell people is, you might think that your question's a little circuitous and so forth like that, but hey, we get around to it. And we can figure this out together. So thanks for asking, because it helps other people as well, because it really does come down to what Lama Losang said at the end here, which was that these are just words that help us to relax into the expansive view of mind. And then the words that allow us to relax into the expansive view of mind allow us to actually meditate without a lot of tension, a lot of, we can actually just let the mind be relaxed. And if we're not worrying about is this it or is this not it? So I really appreciate that. The Trungpa Rinpoche wrote a really wonderful book about the aspiration prayer of Mahamudra. It's a little tiny book. You can download it from the internet, I think, for like almost no money. It's really nice. It's called the Aspiration Prayer of Mahamudra. Okay, so it's that one. Okay, now let's move on. We do have another question. Peter is asking, is this the last class? I do believe this is the last class in this series. There will be another series starting in, can I say this? In January. There'll be another series starting after the holidays, the winter holidays. So here's what he's written. If so, thank you so much for the training. I wonder if the lamas would be willing to share how their daily, weekly, and life practice is performed, and if they have any advice on practice for lay people. Oh, this is a good one. Yes, this is an excellent question. We could spend the whole rest of the time on this. Again, the lamas, let's open up the floor here a little bit. Going backwards, alphabetically. Let's see. I think this would be Lama Yeshe. If you would like to say something about this, because it says if the lamas would be willing to share how their daily, weekly life and practice is performed. Yeah, I'd say keep it brief so that we can
Yes,
more than
well,
one answer.
that's a very interesting question. My life is far from regular. That's the first thing. I have a definition of a plan, and it is a well thought out fantasy. And so you practice when you have time. And lately I have been having health issues. I went to physical therapy today. I have appointments and appointments and appointments. And so a lot of times I'm practicing in between appointments. It's a good time to do medicine Buddha when you're in the waiting room, at least the mantra. And so we have a mundane life, and then we have our practice life, and we try to integrate the two, but we have to be flexible. And so I guess that is to keep it simple. Integrate flexibility, and don't say one cancels the other.
Thank you. Thank you, Lama Yeshe. This is wonderful. I wonder, the questioner is asking if they have any advice on practicing for lay people. I don't know. Khenpo Sangye, now that you are here, could you and Khenpo Urgyen answer these questions? What's important for people to know, lay people to know about their practice? They're in a room here, a Zoom room with a lot of lamas.
Khenpo, you're mute. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Lama KD, can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. Yeah, very easy. I think really the bottom line is, do you have any advice on Dharma practice for lay people? Because, what is basically the question has two parts. What is your practice life like? And the other is, what advice do you have for lay people in their practice? So I think that the second question is really the most important one.
Yeah, let me translate that for Khenpo again and see if he would like to answer for it.
Okay, thank you.
Khenpola, thank you there.
거기도.
안다디 지와 나랑조 유다 냠len 제기 메시지 여봐. 간디 두세 당보 냠len 제 메시지 다 도도나 냠len 제 메시지 냠len 마세게 메시지 레 켜버 거래도 동동 인사래. 지지. 데니바데 데네 미갸 킴발라 데네 두규는 냠len 제야라 데네 깔롭 거래나야요. 찍나로 제 생부세.
당버디 간에서
냠len 제기 메시지 간디 두세 냠len 제기 메시지
냠len 제겐기 밑에
냠len 쟁게다 다 도르는 측세볼 민두데 냠len 쟁게다 마지기 발라 캡바 거리요리 돈다 인사다 냠len 쟁기 미세드다 냠len 마지기 미세드니라 캡바 거리요리 도 인사리다 너는 냠len 쟁기 미세드 간데 두스 테네 김밥 호모는 냠len 제알 깔랍 지나로지스 테네 힘이 양 체기 렌자고 있는 것도 수겸 지거 테네 저와 켈라 휴인 렌자기 배 아코나도 잡라니 렌이 기티 저와 미스 켈라 땅 말다 근데 그룹은 땅으로 공식이 되는
알레 랭게 잡에 말이요.
힘이 야고 막 잡난 되게
아예 당목 거랑도 잡 조금나.
Khenpo said he would like you guys to try to answer that first. So you tell him or her how is your practice life like, and then give some advice. What is good for them to practice as a householder or lay practitioner? Oh, Lama Katie, you.
Yeah, my turn to be muted. We're so human. So Khenpo Sangye, you would be next then. S. Khenpo Sangye, well, do you have an answer for this question?
Oh no, maybe you better. You because you have better language, this because our
your language is great.
Our language is really very limited. So please, you one of you can, as Khenpo said. I think.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's no problem. We're trying. Okay, Lama Tom, QRST. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So Lama Tom, I think, oh, sorry. Now I love Zoom. We're having a lot of comedy tonight.
Lama Tom, I don't see anywhere.
He's probably not on your screen.
Oh. Oh yes, I can see now. Tom Broadwater.
Yep.
How to pronounce his last name? Broadwater?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Broadwater.
Yeah.
I am Broadfire then.
Oh, very good. Very good. See if we're lucky. Mm-hmm.
There
Lama
we
Tom.
go.
There we go. Good going. Thank you, Lama Tom.
So Rinpoche gave us some practices to do after retreat. We do those. And they're for after retreat. Everybody has their different practices depending upon your level of, where you are, if you're a beginner or not. And so everybody's going to be a little bit different. And really, you should be asking the lamas what practices you can do based upon your level of understanding and so forth. I think for me, all I can speak for is myself, but for me, there's two elements to practice often. There's the ritual element, and then there's the element of heart. And I think part of my advice would be whatever practice you're doing is keep it fresh. Really, and that's really the challenge for all of us is whatever practice we are doing to keep it fresh. And by that I mean always keep in mind what the meaning of what your practice is. That's one thing. In terms of what everyday practice I do, one thing I really find interesting to do is from time to time pause and say, where is my mind? What am I doing? Is it engaged in virtuous activity, or am I being overwhelmed by negativity? And just that little thing right there is very helpful. As I said in my talk earlier, Khenpo Rinpoche said that if we did that, we would become teachers of ourselves. So from time to time, take a look at where your mind is. It can be very interesting.
Thank you very much, Lama Tom. I think that this advice is starting to build up. So I think, Peter, you're getting some really good advice here. All the folks here are giving some really good advice about being flexible and watching your mind and kind of seeing where you are and so forth. So this is good. So let me see who's next. I'm going to think the next person is QRS. So then that would be Lama Rob.
In my case, I'm a lay person. I do have a day job. Do have a spouse. So I have all those wonderful commitments. I break it down into on cushion and off cushion. So on cushion, try to do formal practice, roughly an hour. Doesn't have to be that, it can be longer. But it's important to maintain the continuity of that, meaning do it every day, because you develop, as we'd say in the West, momentum. And if you stop it, you lose that momentum, and that's hard to kind of get back. So it would be good to maintain it as best you can. As far as off cushion at work, probably a few things. Some are practical, like I could be more aggressive at work, increase, pay, that sort of thing, but it would come at a cost of less time, more stress. So there is a lifestyle choice to be made. And if you have a partner, depending on where your relationship is, that would be you and your partner kind of coming to grips with that, either directly or indirectly. Off cushion practice also, I try to be mindful of what I'm attached or what I'm averse to. And that tells me how my mind is becoming attached or averse to different things. It tells me how it's functioning. And it gives me insight into what's kind of going on. Also, the other practice is death meditation. I remind myself that anytime I could die, and that what I have is gone, and that helps reduce some of the attachment. But then I also remind myself that I would call it, in the West, we call it gratitude practice. I think that kind of translates into rejoicing. So when things are good, or the good qualities that you have going on, or the opportunities that you have, to recollect that also. And that's kind of how I would say to practice, maintaining consistency on the cushion. And then when you're off the cushion, try to work with the thoughts as best as you can, awareness of the content of your thought. And if you can get into meditative states off cushion, that would be good too. Sometimes it's called sleep in long meetings. Just kidding. But that would be my general advice.
Thank you, Lama Rob. I appreciate you sharing that. Next in our alphabetical round robin, we're going to Lama Losang.
Well, I thought that was great, Rob. I agree with you. But for the beginner, we have to say, just how much of a beginner are we here in this practice. So we begin with meditation and mindfulness, regular meditation, especially shamatha, the calm abiding, helps stabilize the mind. So we have to do that in order to stabilize the mind before we do anything else, making it easier to navigate our life, actually. And so, as was mentioned, there are the two kind of aspects of on cushion when we're doing our practice. And once one is stabilized the mind to some degree, then we can go into other practices. You may know about Nundro, for the preliminary practices. That would be next, generally, after we've have the capacity to stabilize the mind through shamatha and vipassana. This is insight meditation, so we really begin and let Lama Tom was saying about the four thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma. We contemplate those thoughts as well. And once we get to the place that we're ready to, we've, of course, somewhere along the way, we're taking refuge, which is the first, formal coming on the path. And most, I think, everyone here is probably taking refuge. If not, that is the blessing of, it gives you the opportunity to explore the Buddha Dharma in its entirety, and to take empowerments and to do those kinds of things to continue on the path to awakening, as the Buddha taught. So, there's a graduated steps that one takes, and that's the time you really want to make contact with the teacher in the Vajrayana. That is important to help guide you. Everyone is different. So everyone needs a kind of special guidance sometimes, and to have that, whether it's something like this, or you have contact with one of the other KTCs or one of the teachers, whether it is local or distant, it really doesn't matter. The importance is that you can have an opportunity to ask questions. The idea, as I was saying, to first tame our mind before we can do anything through the practice of shamatha, which is going to be more in the next session as well. When we start in January, we'll be talking more about shamatha. But the importance, particularly in the Vajrayana, of the teacher, the guru. So it is important that you be on the right path and get the right guidance, through this. So developing that stability of mind, and through the four thoughts, and turn the mind to Dharma, through exchange of self or other, the Losang practice. These kinds of things are all available to us. And we have lamas that teach in different places, KTD. So you always want to, there's what the Lama Ram said about momentum. This is a daily practice, and it's important that you practice just for that reason. It's easy once we lose that momentum to just lose it. And that is not, this life is short. That's the first thing we arrive at. This precious human birth we don't want to waste. So that is something that we need to do. I could go on with this some more, but I think that's enough. But I wish you great good fortune, and that you maintain your momentum in practice. It has to be a daily practice.
Thank you so much, Lama Losang. I appreciate what you've had to say here. This is all, I'm really enjoying this particular question, because it's practical for everyone who's on the call, because everyone on the call has some experience of meditation and some experience of studying Dharma, and they may have even made contact with a teacher and been able to study a little bit with a teacher. But having these practical guidelines is also useful. Let's see quickly. Let's see. I think alphabetically I'm next. So just to say briefly, like Lama Tam and Lama Yeshe said, that after you finish 3-year retreat, you have a whole raft of practices to do each day. So it's a lot to think about and do, but because we are all about expanding our practice to fill our life, it's really not about the number of practices you do. It's about how wide your Dharma is going, because if we only think that our Dharma is on our cushion, then when we get up off the cushion, that somehow that's not Dharma, then that's a little bit of a problem. Maybe we've put like a line on one side's the cushion, on the other side is our life. And so it's important to begin to erase that line between our cushion and our life. And the best way I've ever found to do this is by practicing bodhicitta. Bodhi means awakening, citta means mind. It's the wish to benefit sentient beings, and the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of beings. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche said that when we engender the wish to be of benefit to others, the word he used was, he said, it starts a momentum of goodness in your life that eventually becomes self-sustaining. And so this study and practice of bodhicitta is really, for me, it was what allowed me to erase the line between the cushion on the one side and my daily life on the other side. And that practice was the practice that really meant the most to me, which is mind training, or Losang in the Tibetan language. And great books have been written about it, such as the Great Path of Awakening by Jamgon Khantrul. That one's a little bit hard to understand, but there's a really short book called The 7-Point Mind Training that was written by Trungpa Rinpoche, much easier to understand, plain spoken. It's really easy to understand. So that's the practice that helped me the most and allowed me to do just about everything else. Because when you do this practice, for example, if you're having a bad day, you're having a really bad day, you can think, well, may I and all beings be free from bad days. And may we all become Buddhas. The idea is, may we all transform our minds. If you're having a good day, you think, well, may all beings have a good day. May all beings be free from suffering, and may all beings become Buddha. Even just this small, almost childlike wish to benefit others, it begins to soften and broaden and expand the mind. And it makes it easier to meditate and to relax the mind. So anyhow, that's my 25 cents worth. I hope this is helpful to people, because it's really helped me a lot. Let's see who is left on the round robin. Okay, now we can come back to Khenpo Sangye and Khenpo Ugyen. Do you have something to add to the advice of people for their daily practice?
All of you have said so wonderful things. So I don't know if I have anything better than that you have said. But nevertheless, maybe I will use some different terminology, maybe. Anyway, my English is not good enough to explain this profound Dharma. But anyway, for first question, first answer is, I'm enjoying my life very much as a practitioner, and I always think I'm the happiest person on the earth. So I think that's how that is what the practitioner life like. That was the question, right? First question was, is that correct, Lama Katie? Right?
Yes, that's good. That's good. What is your practice life like? Yep.
I feel I'm the luckiest person on earth. And we call ourselves bhikshu. Bhikshu means a monk, a Buddhist monk, which is homeless. But wherever you go is my home. That's how I feel. So that's what the practitioner, the ordained practitioner life like. Okay, for me. So I think it's best life you can have. And of course, in order to practice Buddha Dharma, you don't necessarily have to be an ordained one also, because we have two different things, ordained and a householder. For example, if we see, I have a problem with the language. If we think about the lineage, founder of different lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, then there are so many lay people. For example, in our own lineage, which is called Kagyu lineage, we have 3 forefathers, what we call that, forefather, right? Forefather. And then 2 of them is lay person, people, like Milarepa and Marpa. And like same at the Nyingmapa also, they have 3, and then only one of them was ordained, like the Bodhisattva Sanjay Rakshita was only ordained one. And then also for the Sajapa, they have 5 of them, and 3 of them were lay people. And of course, Gelupa, they have all 3 of them are ordained, but their man, the lineage came from Kadamba. Again, the man student of Adisha was called Domtomba, who was again lay people. So therefore, when I say I'm having a best life, it doesn't mean you all have to be an ordained one. Don't worry about that, because each individual has different karma from each other. So that's how I feel. Then I'm having the best life as a practitioner, ordained practitioner, and I feel I'm the luckiest person on the earth. Okay, that's my first answer for the first question. What is practitioner life like, right? That was the first question.
Right.
And the question, as I said already, all this wonderful Lama has answered so many different good things. And I don't think I have anything better to offer, but nevertheless, to tell you something about my own opinion, when you try to learn something or practice something in Buddhism, it is always important to differentiate the two truth, the relative truth and ultimate truth. Otherwise, it will be very confusing. Sometimes we are talking about emptiness, selflessness, and sometimes we are talking about so much karma and suffering and happiness, so forth. So we must have at least some idea about this true truth. And then as long as from the relative truth is concerned, then most of the religion on the world are almost same, like Christianity or Muslim or Hindu, all of them talking about the, love, compassion, kindness, honesty, patience, all this, which is very good. But again, when we talk about for example, just love, loving kindness or love, compassion, then in Buddhism, we have like 3 different levels, So as far as my understanding is concerned, I think most other religions are talking only the first level, which we said the compassion, of which the focal object is sentient beings. So when we go further like that, therefore it's very important for us to have some idea about these 2 different truths. Then from the relative point of view, the most important thing for us, whether you are a lay person or ordained to practice, is the relative bodhicitta and the karma. You always have to practice the law of karma. And then from the ultimate point of view, then of course, you have to practice, meditate on the emptiness and selflessness. And then when you meditate on the emptiness, then that's not different than practicing the ultimate bodhicitta also. So these 2 things is very important. I think that's all I want to say today, because my language is really limited.
Oh, that's no problem. It's wonderful to hear from you, Khenpo Sangye. Now, does Khenpo Urgyen have something to add?
다시 되어들었다. 몽보시아의 두스민도 되네. 책니시아.
Also, Khenpo said, since we don't have too much time, he is not going to go to in extensive explanation, but he has 2 words to say.
되네. 냠len 제겐당 마제겐이라 케바르가르여 세다 디와디르. 다 냠len 제겐당 마제겐이라 케바르가르여 스나 아랑게 삼저버지나. 냠len 제겐 게라 되네 미규비기 미트버지레. 냠len 마제겐게 미그미비기 미트버지레. 되네 가르르스나 냠len 제비 미비기 당원도당 녜레기 미 다 되네 상지 고방마 되게 버드는 년도당 녜레기 네 통야당 년도당 녜레기 네 라타야기 미겨 버드레 네 냠레 마제게 미데라 다 비응원도당 녜레기 네 통야당 타야기 미 네버 책직게 팅예버리 가르드나 냠레 제겐이 메비 원토당 엘레게 람라 토야게 강바 유비 미트보지레 냠레 마제게 미데라 원토당 엘레게 람도 토야게 강바 메비 미트보지레 다 도나 미규비 미다 미메비 미 강바 유바나 강바 메비 미트보 지레 다 강도 주와 당보데.
So I think I can say the differences between someone who practice and someone who doesn't practice Dharma is like a person with sight and a person without sight, or eye, eye, right? Sight is okay, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for example, if you learn Dharma and practice, then you have eye to see how to go to the higher realm, higher and higher, until you achieve the enlightenment. If you don't study Dharma and you don't practice, then you have no sight or no wisdom, no eye of seeing this path. And then also another difference between someone who practices and who doesn't practice Dharma is like a person who has a leg and who doesn't have a leg. If you practice Dharma, then you can walk on the path of enlightenment. And if you don't practice Dharma, then you have no leg that you can walk on the path of enlightenment. Okay, that's for the first question.
Tene nipa di ta gangzo chikin bala ta lamden tobo chik se sanro. Tene lamden de ta chikin ba yina yang ta cheba yina yang ta towa bamba yina yang ta mawa yokba yina yang ta ju yuken yina yang ta ju meken yina yang ta namba yuken yina yang ta namba meken yina yang ta tene thangma tene 다 drup shedang mashegi kebar mato dewa dekendang dungel medenkin shauzak dewa dekendang dungel medenkin nyakjikre deyende tene dewa di 간데스는 터거랬대 나 터다 다시 sheba 나신 응원도당 엘레기 믹당 응원도당 엘레라 저에게 강바저고 디 터거나 되네 강도고 대 탐제 주얼라 때문에 중계를 마도 주 매비 대화당 기부지 중에 매발에 대연당 되네 상지 점내기 천왕 담지 줄레 중 대조 대신 세계 송 되네 최 담지 줄레 때는 중 동해당 강을 담제장 줄레 라데네 중계를 대보당 기부 담제장 줄라 되네 중계를 대연들 되네 타르바 강도 대보당 기부 대겐 상매 되네 디주 되네 강도 타르디 대화당 기부대 가르을 때나 토리당 타르바 니라마도 연성숨라 돈에 대화당 기부지에 대해서게 고갑 매발에 대연당 대내 토리 하당 토리당 타르바당 멘토당 일레기 주 대내 대 중위기 주디 개화래 개화마도 매발에 대인데 대내 토리 멘토기 더 강도 멘토당 일레기 주 개화 주 년성숨도 drone 대완용하던 기보다에 매발에 동일 약지마도 대 동일 매용하게 제도 대 동일 방하게 제도 미가와 강도 지도에 방 되는 강도 방 제거야 돼 되는 강도 지빈 받을 적에 라다 강도 람든 로버지 칙칙 람든 칙칙 네.
So, answer for the second question in one word. Khenpo say in one word, but he says so many words. In one word, Khenpo said in one word, whether you are a rich person or poor person, whether you are a high ranking person or low person, whether you are a nice, beautiful looking person or ugly looking person, no matter who you are, everyone wants happiness and no one wants suffering. That's for sure. But only thing is, people doesn't know what brings happiness and what brings suffering. That's why even they want happiness, usually they are accumulating the causes of suffering. Therefore, by understanding very well what brings happiness and what brings suffering, then to practice that, to practice the causes of happiness and then to avoid the causes of suffering is what I would like to ask the lay people to practice. And then if you ask what is the ultimate happiness, then of course, as I said, the Buddhahood, enlightenment, but that's not easy to achieve right away. Therefore, first thing we can think about is the higher realm. Even in the samsara, there's different states. If you are born in the lower realms, one of the three lower realms, and there's no chance for you to experience any happiness there. You have to go through all suffering all the time. Therefore, you have to work. You have to work. Okay, WORK, work. You have to work for the process of taking rebirth in higher realm until you become enlightened being. Then, of course, ultimately you have to work to become a Buddha, and that's what I would like to say. That's one word. One word. One word. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Khenpo La. I appreciate it. I think you're getting some thumbs up here. This is good. Thank you. This was a really great question, and I really was happy we all got to share. As Khenpo mentioned, we are actually starting to tick. The clock is ticking, and we don't have a lot of time left, but we have two important questions. And let's see. Oh, now we have another. Okay, yeah. Now, okay, right. We have two questions. The first one, I'm going to see if we can, is from you, Marianne, and let's see if we can handle this one fairly easily if by asking Khenpo Ugyen Tenzin, because I think he's going to be the best equipped person. Yes, I see Khenpo Sangye putting his, are you asking to be recognized there?
Okay, just keep going. Keep going.
Oh, me? Keep going?
No, you're telling us the questions, right? You just keep going.
Yes. Okay. My mistake. Sorry. I thought you were asking to be recognized, so this, okay. So, okay. And speaking of that, in Marianne's question, it's, can you discuss what a tulku is and if there are ordinary practitioners who are tulkus? And can they be recognized? And so would we, Khenpo Sangye, could we ask Khenpo Ugyen this question?
Okay, let me clarify the question. First question is, can you repeat one more time?
Yes. It says, please discuss what a tulku is. And that's the first one. And then if there are ordinary practitioners who are tulkus, and can they be found and recognized?
Okay. Tulku 생기데 가레세 켐볼라. tulku. tulku 생기 tulbeku. tulbeku 생기데 가 다 tinza tulku 망보 열어와.
가르서 주고
tulbeku.
어
tulbeku 생기데 다 티고라 지당 tulbeku 생기 된데 서와. 규마 나라 규마 냠내 제된 tulbeku 된 열을 베세. 미규마 나라 tulbeku. 연어 진정 tulbeku는 뭔지 제초를 베세.
줄고 생이 가르레세요 되네
관계도 당보도 tulbeku 생기 가레레스 다 당보티 서래. 지당 tulbeku 생기 tulku 생기 가레레스 제단 tulku 생기데. 가레레스 디. 디콜라 토랭지 나오러 제세.
다 줄고 세긴데 지탕 되네 간도 말도 최고 롱고 주고 세긴게 넘버 숨 여바래 대낭이 주고디 대리 가르 되겠잖아 되네 최고 생긴데 둘자 사주 준대기 장제 선바 대조기 몰라 되네 강조 대조기다 계획신년 줘보질라 되네 최고 저거 되네 다 사주려야 레마도 강조 다 살아내베 살아내베 장주 선바 펜저를 다 사당바 인천에 내비 장주 선바 대초기 몰라 강조 대위 신인 기출도 때마다 다 롱제 조배고 Tene tulbi ko sekende ngarang so dulja ta le ta la madakba tene ta le tane madakba la yang chugo nang tukiyo maro le gang la gangsam ji ta la tene chatang madakba dulja di ngo la ta giwe shinin gi tuldo tengen de la tene tulbi ku tene ta chogo longo chugu tene yawadi dende tene shakbara dulji ta chogo longo tu korangi ngone yawa kebar yawa marede dulje gi ngone kebar yawa chene shakbara.
So Trulku, can you hear me?
Yes.
Trulku is, as we know, Tibetan word, and that is the translation of Nirmanakaya. Out of 3 kayas of Buddha, which are Dharmakaya, or how do you translate Dharmakaya in English? You said that the body of truth, precisely.
Yeah, that is one way of doing it. Yes, and sometimes if they use body, speech, and mind, it's enlightened mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then so we have something called 3 kayas, as you know that. And maybe I just use the Sanskrit word Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. So Trulku is actually the Nirmanakaya, Tibetan word. For example, the Dharmakaya is Chulku, and then the Sambhogakaya is Longgu, and the Nirmanakaya is Trulku. So that's what we are talking about now. That's what we're discussing. So from the Buddha's, himself or herself, there's no difference between these 3 kayas, but this is divided, or this there's a word. This is categorized, depends on the student. There's a student, dulja. For example, those bodhisattva who are residing at the very end of 10th bhumis, then they can see the Dharmakaya as their teacher. And then those bodhisattva who are just achieving the first bhumi and so forth, then they can see, or they can have Sambhogakaya as their teacher, their guru. And then for us, for example, we says those people who have pure and impure karma both. We say, does that make sense or not? Pure and impure. You are not totally impure. If you are totally impure, if you are endowed with totally impure karma, then you are not able to see even the Nirmanakaya. So if you are being able to see and have Nirmanakaya as your guru, that means your karma, some part of your karma has been purified. That's what we in Tibetan we say tak la matak, means you have both the pure karma and impure karma. And then for them, what appears as a teacher is what we call the Nirmanakaya or Trulku.
Tene ta chirdang chugo se de la tene kanzo lenyen gi le dang nyamong wangi kewa le matabo mayimba samshindo rangwa yeshindo tene kanzo nge de la kewa tene ji le ne semjen tene ji la pendagi in samne tene rangwa yeshindo samshindo kewa len tuba ge da kanzo kansa ji la chugo se ginda.
And the general understanding of Trulku nowadays, we have many Trulkus, is actually they are supposed to be someone who come here intentionally to help sentient beings, not by the force of karma and klesha, but by their own aspiration, and intentionally came to help people, sentient, not just people, sentient beings. That's what we call the Trulku, or incarnated lamas. That's all. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Khenpo. I appreciate this. We have 2 more questions. We may not have time for both. We'll try. The next question is from Pat. I am preparing for my physical death and practically and spiritually. I am also thinking about my next incarnation. How do I go about this? Okay, so it says, I am preparing for physical death, practically and spiritually, also thinking about next incarnation. Okay. If it's okay, let's see. I'm thinking, Lama Losang, can you give an answer on this one for us? Could you start us off?
Yes, it's wonderful you're contemplating your death. You know, that is really an important thing to do for all of us. And there are some things that, in terms of practices, one can engage in several different practices as we approach that. And the first, of course, is meditation and mindfulness. You know, regular meditation, especially shamatha, again, calm abiding, helps stabilize the mind, as I mentioned before, and making it easier, you know, to navigate in the bardo. So that is important. The bardo is going to be challenging, and we have to have a stable mind. So sometimes we talk about lucid dreaming. It's good if you could kind of put those things together, and if you can be mindful and lucid in a dream, that will serve you in the bardo. And viewing experiences as sacred, you know, perceive everything as sacred and a play of the mind, which can aid in accepting, you know, whatever arises without struggle. That will help you in the bardo. We're preparing for the bardo now, is I think that's the gist of this question. So and having emotional resilience, you know, develop emotional resilience by understanding and working with different kinds of fear through love and compassion. So that is our first go-to. It could be a scary experience, but if we realize this is another manifestation of our own mind, and we've cultivated compassion and loving kindness, that will serve us well in the bardo. And our spiritual practice, you know, that's engage in spiritual practices. I mentioned dream yoga or deity practices that help to build familiarity and confidence. So that would be my first go-to answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lama Losang. In addition, I'm going to ask Yunten to put in the chat 2 books that I think are important. One of them is they're written for a Western audience. One is Bardo, Interval of Possibility, was written by Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche. And additionally, there is a book called Journey of the Mind, which was written by Trungpa Rinpoche. And I remember the translator Yeshe Jamso telling me that the main explanation of the bardos used in the Kagyu tradition is another book, which I didn't tell Yunten about, sorry. It's called The Mirror of Mindfulness by Tsele Ngatsok Rongdrol. And Journey of the Mind is Trungpa Rinpoche's commentary on that book. So that's the book recommendation.
I also have one to add, Lama, and that is Holacek's book, Andrew Holacek, Preparing to Die. That is a practical book too, you know, how you kind of prepare in the worldly way as well. So I would recommend that, Preparing to Die by Holacek. Andrew
Yeah, Holacek, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so
I
now
added one thing here.
Yes, please. Yeah, I was going to open it up now. So yes, please.
And that is the bardo packet. In the chat there, I put a link to where you can get that. I'm sure you can get it in the bookstore too. But it's wonderful to have one, to read the instructions, and to also leave instructions for other people to use the bardo packet as you are dying.
Mhm. Thank you. That's really helpful. Yeah, many people have been benefited by this. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche caused that to be created, and so it's a wonderful blessing for people. We are running short on time, But would anyone like to say, because the person is asking about their next incarnation, does anyone want to say a few words about Dewa Chen? Hmm?
I think you might mention that as an aspiration to have.
Okay. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche said, he said, look, we have a very short life here, and we might not get enlightened this time. And he said, we may have an aspiration to be reborn with a guru somewhere. But he said, if you're reborn with a guru somewhere, you're still in samsara, so you've got some risk of making a mistake and ending up back deeper down in samsara. So he said, the best thing to do is to make the aspiration to be reborn in Dewa Chen, the pure realm of the Buddha Amitabha. And there are lots of things you can read about that. Khenpo Rinpoche talks about it in Bardo Interval of Possibility. And he said that if you are reborn in Dewa Chen, you can, once you arrive there, he said you'll arise as a first level bodhisattva. And then he said, with your eye of wisdom, you can see all of those you left behind and help them and send emanations to help them in their life. This was one of the most moving pieces of advice I ever heard Rinpoche give. He gave it to a man who was just 5 days away from dying, and it transformed that man's experience in so many ways. So thank you for letting me share that. I hate to say this, but we do have a question in Chinese. I want to get that Chinese question in if I can. Lama Sonam, can you assist? Okay, she is unmuted, but I'm not hearing her.
Lama Sonam, you can talk now. I just removed you as an interpreter.
Yeah, yes. The question is how to define a Lama. What is the difference between like a monastic Lama and the Mahayana, like they call master, they call Mahayana Bhikkhu? How do we treat them differently? Yeah, that's the first one. You want to answer that first?
Yes. Does anyone have an approach to this question? Khenpo Sangye, we may need some help here.
Okay. What do you want to do? Dance?
You can answer the question, perhaps, or because it's about what's the difference between a Lama that is an ordained Sangha member and then the masters of the Mahayana tradition. Or maybe we could ask someone else, but no one has volunteered, so I'm volunteering you. This is maybe not fair.
You want me to translate to Khenpo Lao, or you want me to answer myself?
Your choice. Your choice. We are short on time.
Maybe let me answer. Let me translate to my boss.
Okay. Okay.
Khenpo Lao de manzo ta Jami ki lama tini yorwa Jami Lama. Jami Lama tenya ta manzo Lama tenya le khepar khan yor basic se.
다 개발을 때에 여지를 삼기도 가래래서나 마하야나 되돌아 다 마하야나 시샤마도 상하게 럼요 말어 이제 다 상회기 전에 가서 가시 여지를 내 망치와 상하게 냠렌디는 딤 시점 내발 되네 강도 말한서 되게 라마 되돌아 저다 상하게 냠렌 이어바래 다디 개발멘도 삼 말한 삼 아유미
I think generally speaking,
一般来说 sorry, I have to just after you, Kimberla.
okay. So generally speaking, both of them are very good because both of them are like Mahayana practitioner, but nevertheless, I think the Tibetan Mahayana is related with Mantrayana, Vajrayana, and then the other one is just the Mahayana, not related with the Mantrayana or Vajrayana. I think that's the difference. Other than that, I think there's not much difference.
She's actually asking, what is a Lama? What qualify you to be a Lama?
Oh, so that's it. Okay. Then Lama sing名字拖下来了，可是结果的是，这当个罗松在这玩了，俺说呢。
re chidang de ta begi losile na dene khanso go losum chesum tuba nyamlen thar nyamdok dang den losum chesum thar nyamdok dang den ba chila dene lama sege ore yina ya jaga gi losila ta khanso ta jaga losise gore nepali deso gi losila ta sensham gunze tamjela lama segedo luksudo bashi
네발 말을 다 담보는 사막이 외바다 이지기 청소하는 거 요래 외바다한테 외다 속보기 잡아들 라마스 그래서 주제. So in our tradition, again they have different tradition in Tibetan Buddhism. In our tradition, of course, we all know, but the one who is asking doesn't know maybe. so we have to say that once you finish your 3-year retreat, traditional 3-year retreat, then you get the title of Lama. And again, it doesn't mean you are, totally qualified. Because each individual is different from each other. So some might have full realization, some might have not that much realization. But nevertheless, everyone who has finished the 3-year retreat will have the title of Lama. That's how the Lama is in our tradition.
adi rangla so lungbe gi da luksu jobo ya tezi chok dia jobo ya sari tene da nga so dru jobo ina dorje loben gi kone sung tuken la ten lama sigi
General idea of how you get the title of Lama, but again, the different region or different monastery has different tradition again. For example, in my own country, in Bhutan, the one who is qualified to be Vaja master is called only Lama.
首先是怎么定义喇嘛呢？就是我们不同的传承它是不一样的。在我们噶举传承呢，是你要如果完成了3年闭关，传统的3年闭关的话，你就有这个喇嘛这个名称了。当然它这个喇嘛名称并不是说你就获得了证悟了，每个人的修持是不一样的，有的人证悟好一点，有的人可能没有。但是只要你完成了3年闭关，就有了这个喇嘛的这个称号了。那在不同的地区，不同的传统是不一样的。堪布说，比如说在他所在的不丹那个寺庙，只有金刚上师可以成为喇嘛，其他人都是不可以成喇嘛的。所以是不一样的。然后说这个写金刚乘的喇嘛、出家的喇嘛跟显宗的师父法师有什么不一样呢？堪布说都是很好的，但是只是他们修持的内容，比如说金刚乘的喇嘛。他们修持的是咒乘、密咒乘，是金刚乘的修法。然后玛哈亚纳，显乘的法师呢，他们修的是这个显乘的法，所以都是挺好的啊。他们没有说。Then the second question, how to decide whether this Lama is worthy to be respected and trustworthy? How do you tell when Lama is trustworthy and respectful?
라마들 이치 제로사에 말해도 그래서 하고 그러세.
나
라마들 라마혼에 이치 제로사에 라마레다 말해 그래서 하고 그러세. 켄포라. actually 마견은 지금 미션밖에 없는 디그리 인지 그러나도 잡라는 디그리.
네 그러냐
켄포라 somebody else can answer for that. Maybe Lama Keti?
I understand. Yeah, I'm going to ask. I'm going to see if Lama Tom, would you like to start on this one? Oh, sorry, I have to ask you to unmute. Sorry.
Lama Yeshe.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you. We'll come back to you if you can figure it out. Okay. Wait a minute. Try one more thing there. Okay. I'll tell you what, Zoom is the problem sometimes.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think, how do you, I think in terms of trusting any Lama, it's a process of discernment on the part of the student, for one. But I would think there are two things that you're looking for in a Lama: someone that knows what it is, the subject that you're working on, they know it. And I think the other quality you're looking for is someone who has love and compassion. Those are qualities that are key. Someone that has expertise in the particular area you're investigating or practicing, that's one. And again, that they are practicing love and compassion, the two bodhicittas. And you have to, and that's really important on the part of the student to discern that.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you. Lama Sonam, would you like to translate that?
Yeah. 他的问题是如何确定这个喇嘛是值得信赖和值得恭敬的？那喇嘛他们的回答是说，这个其实很大程度上是取决于这位弟子的。你弟子呢，你要有一个分辨力，你要判断，就说你现在正在学习的这个内容，就是这喇嘛他知道不知道，了解不了解你想修的或者你想要了解的这一块，他是不是专业的？然后第二点呢，就是说他是不是具有慈心和悲心，就是慈悲心是不是足够？这个很大程度上是要这个弟子本人去判断的。
The other
Yes,
thing,
thank
the
you.
other thing I would say here too is that since I am not a very educated or intelligent Lama, probably there are others that have more to say than what I've said.
那么他们说，我自己这个学识浅薄，也不够有智慧，所以希望别的喇嘛来补充一下。
Thank you, Lama Tom. And I think we're going to ask Lama Yeshe and Lama Rob to weigh in on this question, and I think that will be the final comments for tonight.
So we're 9:36 now.
I know we got to roll it up.
So I would say, as far as the Lama trustworthy, Lamas will have a reputation if they've been doing it for a while. So part of it would be to just, they'll have a reputation, and that will kind of give you some idea of the whether they're trustworthy. The other part of it is to talk to if they're taking students, to talk to their existing students and have, see how they'll kind of tell you how that person is, and you'll kind of get a feel for it. And then part of it is also you interacting with those students. Do you like those students? Because the other part of this is, are they with their respect? Do they get results? Because that's their job. So they have students, they cultivate the student, they work with their karma, and then the student should develop and improve. So how has that Lama been doing? And then interacting with the students, you can kind of see if that particular Lama is getting results and things are improving for the students. But it's also you kind of feeling like you like what's going on. You feel connected to the group, and it doesn't feel kind of alien. And that would be more of a good fit possibly for you.
那Lama Ram 说的呢，就是说，他说你可以从几个方面来观察，比如说这个喇嘛他如果已经是在这个地方有一段时间了，那他也有他的名声，你要看看他的名声好还是不好。然后呢，第二点看的呢，就是看他的弟子，你可以就是观察，就是问问他的 弟子们怎么说的。然后第三个方面呢，是你自己跟弟子的这个经验，就是你觉得你喜不喜欢他的弟子？因为弟子嘛，通常就是这个师傅的一个成果，应该反映师傅的这个一个成果。就看这个弟子他的业力有没有减少，烦恼有没有减少，就弟子修的有没有成效。这是第三个。然后第四个呢，就是说你要看一下你自己是跟这个喇嘛是不是有缘的，是不是有亲近的，就感觉不是特别的那种疏远的那种感觉，是这几个方面。
Okay. Lama Yeshe, do you have something to conclude with this on?
Yes, first of all, I agree with what has been said. I have nothing to disagree with any of that. What is also important is, can the student learn from the teacher? Are you learning? Or are you just getting patted on the back? I had Chujer once say that a good Lama pushes the student further than they would go by themselves. And then the other thing is, you want to avoid the going to different lamas. If mom says no, then I'll go to dad. So that's all I have to add.
喇嘛也是说，他完全同意前面喇嘛说的啊，就是没什么不同的意见。他觉得还有一个重要的点呢，就是这个弟子呢，你要想一下，你是不是你有没有学到东西，还是你只是就是上师只是拍着你的背给你安慰呢，就是给你好像一点安慰剂似的，没有真正的学到东西。另外还有一个说法呢，就是上师呢是。就是能让你这个弟子呢进步的更快，就是比你自己单独的这个文思呢，就让上师会加速你的进步的，所以你要观察一下有没有发生。然后还有呢，就是说，就是另外要注意的，就是不要在不同的上师之间来回跳来跳去的，就好像找妈妈不成就去找爸爸，这样也是不行的。
Thank you. Thank you, Lamas. We are running behind and we should wrap up now. But I wanted to see if, in closing, if the Khenpos had any remarks or any thoughts to share, either about this or about anything.
Khenpo da cha de song se che kan song ye be se de ta ma la. Da cha da go ye be song se. Den che ta ye be se.
야, 다 미케 강슈야메 데네 강조다 최기 들린제 고갑타바데 데네 가보죠.
Oh, Khenpo said, I have nothing special to say anymore now, and I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share Dharma.
那我们时间不够了，所以请堪布最后说几句话。堪布说他非常高兴跟大家分享佛法，有这个机会，也没有太多要说的了。
So I have little words to say to this particular person who is asking about the Guru. So I would say it doesn't really matter.
Wait.
Oh.
Sorry, my earphone fell. So,
yeah. Because since he or she is kind of serious in finding a good Lama, then if you have a karmically related Lama, then you will have a extraordinary feeling. As soon as you have seen that Guru, that person, or heard about him or her, or get any teaching like that. For example, when Miller Rebbe heard the name of Marba for the first time, then he had this extraordinary, inexpressible the feeling, joy or something like that. So if you have something like that with someone, then you should have no doubt at all for that person and just take him or her as your guru. Then you can learn and practice under the guidance of that guru, because that means we have a karmically, it doesn't matter how the guru treats you. For example, initially, you know how Miller Rebbe was treated by the Marpa, so you can think in the same way. This is doing for purifying your own negativities. As I said again, at the beginning, if you have extraordinary feeling, joy, something like that, at the first sight, then it doesn't matter if you follow any Lama and later it you find it out he's a fake or fraud or something like that, then just don't criticize, but just stop following that. But don't criticize him or her, because you have follow him or her with a pure devotion, and that you have accumulated merit already. Now, until that time, until you find out that guru is not the right guru for you, then if you start criticizing him or her, then all the accumulated merit that you have accumulated in the past will be also exhausted. Therefore, if something makes you that you don't feel good anymore with that person, then just stop there and don't judge anything and don't criticize, but don't follow also. So that's my advice to this person. Then you will be not accumulating any negativities, relying on teacher and the Dharma. So that's very important. Okay.
Okay.
Khenpo Sangye 他补充的就是说，因为这个法友他在认真的问这个上师的问题，看起来他在寻找上师，所以呢，Khenpo Sangye 说再给一点建议呢，就是因为他说当你有的时候呢，我们见到一位上师或者听他讲课，会有一种不一样的感受，比如就像密勒日巴听到马尔巴的名字都会这个汗毛上竖啊，就是有特别不一样的感受，那么就说明你跟这个上师呢是特别有缘的。这个情况你就可以跟随他，就是不用怀疑。那如果这个之后呢，比如这个跟上司是怎么对待你的没关系，也许上司就对你很凶，他也许就是在为你消业呢，就是所以这个只是说你对这个上司有一种特殊的这个业缘的感觉。就可以，但是就是你在追随这个上司的过程中，也许后面发现呢，他不是一个具格的上司，这个时候怎么做呢？就是你可以离开，但是呢，你不可以去批评。不可以到别人面前去讲他的坏话，因为呢，你是一个清净的发心医治他的，所以到这个目前为止呢，你都是在积累着善业的。虽然你已经发现他不具格了，这个时候做的就是你悄悄的走开，慢慢走开就行了，就是不要去指责他，不要去诽谤他，不要再去别人面前诋毁他，这是非常重要的。Yes, Khenpo.
Yeah, thank you. I'm done.
Okay. So I want to take this moment to say to everyone here tonight, we started out, it was a little slow, but this was one of the better discussions I've been in. And I really appreciate everybody bringing all of your questions and all of your sincere wish to practice and study Dharma to this place. Thank you. Thank you also to to Khenpo Urgyen, Khenpo Sangye, for being here with us tonight, as well as all of the other lamas. And thank you for Lama Sonam translating for our Chinese audience, and also Yunten for being our host on the Zoom. So we thank you for being here, and we encourage you to keep your study and practice strong. And watch for our next class, which will be on the topic of shamatha meditation, and it will start in January. So hopefully the newsletter will come out soon with some more information about this. We would like to see you again. Would you like to dedicate merit, everyone?
Sure. We can do. Okay.
Yeah.
那么 Casey 就是那么 Casey 感谢所有的人，就是特别感谢堪布无尽经和堪布三界，然后还有所有的喇嘛。虽然我们刚开始的时候有点慢，就是没有问题，但是其实这个讨论这样下来呢，那么 Casey 说反而觉得是一个非常好的，就比很多那个讨论都非常有这个丰富的一个讨论。感谢大家对于这个佛法的真诚的兴趣，对于修持的真诚的兴趣和贡献。就大家的问答，就希望呢大家继续保持这个文思呢这个强度，要有一定的强度。那我们下一期的课程呢，也希望能够见到大家。下一期是从1月份开始，我们专注的这个题目呢是止的修持。所以可能我们的那个 KDT 的这个简报会很快出来，有详细的介绍。现在我们可以做一个回向。Yes, Lama.
Okay, Khenpo Sangye?
Okay, we do long love prayer for His Holiness and do the dedication usual one. Oi,
karma ba karma Chelgen dongza wangure karma ba oje dode tenle shanden. Sonam deye damje dikwa nye tome nyebe dana pamje. Kega na che balon chubo ye sibi tole drogo nyor dresha. Chambala bawa je dara kemba na kundo tambo deya deshem. Teta kenge jeta talo jenke wa teta tanye rabdo Sangye gozo nyebe jinla da chenye minjara dembe jinla kende meche dembe jinla ke chidara ngwa mala drobara isho Teshi leje jale tenle ba karma ba de dembe nigo Chodara kunja chavje jime che tawwa rabbe belwe traye yo.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.